Today in the Flash Traffic Podcast, we talk about the U.S. misadventure in Venezuela and the Russian misadventure in Ukraine, including secret warplanes, problems with oil, Nobel-level ass-kissing, freezing civilians, and more. Okay, let's go.
Conflict, politics, military-industrial complex, technology, war. The Flash Traffic Podcast.
Save the part so you don't have a fucking neck beard, bro.
I'm waiting until it gets a little longer, and then I'm going to groom it. It's like I was going to make a Jeffrey Epstein joke about
you
grooming.
should, but you should.
But
you should
no,
definitely do
I'm
that.
just not gonna do it.
Okay.
Because it probably will come out not appropriate even for this podcast.
Shocking.
So much stuff going on this week. As usual, we could probably do 3 podcasts a week, but we're not going to do that. I'll tell you what, when we get to 50,000 subscribers on Spotify, then let's start doing it 3 times a week.
So in 2040. Okay.
That'll be our. So if you're listening to this podcast and you want to hear it more than once a week, which is what we've resolved to do, then tell your friends. Let's do the call to action right in the beginning of the podcast.
Yeah, okay.
Tell your friends about the Flash Traffic Podcast, and we're going to try to get to 50,000 subscribers, and then we'll start doing it more often. I wanted to talk about Greenland and Denmark, Copenhagen, and the Danes. I think we have too much stuff. We're not going to. Plus it's ridiculous bullshit. It's so ridiculous. I can't even bring myself to talk about Greenland right now. Let's just jump right into Venezuela.
Okay.
Let's just jump into Venezuela. We'll do Venezuela and Russia today, and I think that's be plenty. Venezuela this week. Let's take a look at this article from the New York Times. Quote: U.S. attacked boat with aircraft that looked like a civilian plane. End quote. What could be wrong about that? What could go wrong there? So those drug boats, and they're definitely drug boats coming out of Venezuela, that the Department of Defense has been destroying steadily for the last couple of months.
Are they doing it anymore, or is it stopped?
I don't know. I haven't heard of any other reporting that they're actually doing that. I think they
Right.
got bigger fish to fry now with trying to run the coury
Yeah, they're
for
running
2 or 3
it.
years.
Yeah, Stephen Miller. Like, what's Stephen Miller's job? Is he what?
He is the chief of staff. Is
What's
that
that?
right?
What's that retard's job?
No, he's
Chief
not the
of
chief of staff. Sorry, I'll find it. Give me a second.
But supposedly he's one of the people who
Oh God, what is? He's the
demented Don.
deputy national security advisor. Hold on.
So demented Don thought Stephen
Sorry,
Miller, dipshit, was one of the guys running Venezuela. Like,
He's deputy. Sorry, not to interrupt you, but he's the deputy chief of staff, White House deputy chief of staff. I thought it was the chief of staff. But,
whatever.
What's her name? What's her name as the chief of staff? He's the deputy chief of staff.
Okay.
He's a giant dick face. What a fucking ass wipe.
So I'm just saying, he's
just to be objective.
I was going to soften the delivery a little bit and just merely call him one of the clowns in the clown car, which is the Trump administration. But yours is actually more accurate.
I don't,
yours
it's Friday.
Different.
It's War Week Friday,
right.
And I don't have time for bullshit. I'm just tired of bullshit. I got a long weekend coming up. Going to cut right through the bullshit. Stephen Miller's a giant fucking dickhead and a moron. So let's just get right to the chase.
But he's running Venezuela.
I don't think anybody's running Venezuela.
Rubio and
I don't even think Delcy Rodriguez is running Venezuela right now. But let's look at this article. So what happened was they attacked the initial boats apparently with a civilian aircraft. They think it might have been a 737. That's a huge aircraft.
That's an
airline flying around the Caribbean. There's not a lot of information.
It's the 737. Okay, it's a passenger airline.
Well, then it'll probably crash. But there's not a lot of information right now on what they were doing, what the airplane was. They think it might have been a 737 because it was in the Caribbean and it was a DoD that wasn't painted like a DoD plane. Okay, we got plenty of those. Apparently, the munitions were not exposed on the outside of the plane, so they were inside the plane, whatever it was. What the fuck is going on here? Like, what kind of clown show were they trying to run? Some kind of clandestine operation here where they're blowing up boats, but they don't want anybody to know. It seems like the plot of Clear and Present Danger. You remember that movie?
Great movie. You should see it. Even though it's in the 90s, it's a great movie.
So in Tom Clancy's Clear and Present Danger, for those of you who have not seen it, you're wrong, first of all, if you do anything with conflict. But I think the plot was they were trying to get back at the drug cartel. So they were killing drug cartel leaders with a bomb that was made out of cellulose that disintegrated completely. So there was no attribution from the United States. And of course, we had the Army Rangers that they sent in, and then they disavowed them in the middle of the mission. And
whoa.
ensues.
Army Special Forces. Let's clarify that.
I think they were Rangers. I think they were. I don't know.
Want to put a dollar on it?
I do not. I'm not going to bet you anything.
Anyways, ever. Yeah, right.
Except UConn, except the UConn and
men's basketball
football game.
Men's basketball.
No, football. Never basketball. That's ridiculous. But football. Okay, sorry. I'm going to look it up.
War We Friday.
Continue. War We Friday.
So maybe they turned the 737, what they call the 737 MAX airliner, into a gunship. Like maybe they made it like their own AC-130, AC-737 gunship with Gatling guns on the side that pop open. From the doors open up.
Surreptitiously pop open.
That's a big gunship. That's a big, fast moving. It could, I guess, so in a circle, like really slow.
Yeah, we talked about it.
Have the 155
turn,
guns.
The AC-130 pylon turn, where they just turn around in a circle and it stabilizes.
Yeah, we're stretching this. It's a stretch. How they use the 737.
Who knows? It might not even be a 737.
Yeah, but got it wrong.
The article goes on to say, I want to quote this, quote, 2 survivors of the initial attack appeared to wave at the aircraft after clambering aboard an overturned piece of the hull before the military killed them in a follow-up strike that also sank the wreckage. So they were waving at the DoD aircraft that just blew them up. Apparently they didn't know it was
not a 737.
Probably not.
That thing's not
probably
flying,
not.
100 yards over the ocean.
The article goes on to say that it was possibly squawking on a military channel, but that doesn't mean anything for a drug runner, right? In a cigarette boat, they're not going to be monitoring the aircraft's external signals. Oh, that's military, or that's civilian. I don't think so. What a bunch of fuck ups in the DoD. What were they trying to do here? What were they trying to keep this whole thing secret for a while? I mean, was that the plan?
I don't know why you had to use like a civilian aircraft unless you're doing like low passes for observation to confirm what you're seeing, like low level reconnaissance. And obviously if you do that with an obvious military plane, dudes are going to be smart enough. Oh, look, there's a military plane trying to buzz us. So then you would turn around and go in the opposite direction back where you came from. Like a boat in the middle of the ocean is like the tank in the middle of an open field. Like you're dead meat.
Yeah, but they're using, now they're using Reapers. They're using drones with Hellfires. So you have no recourse whatsoever. I don't care if your boat goes 75 knots. That doesn't mean shit to a Hellfire.
Yeah, you're
basically standing still.
There's no defense.
It's like almost everything nowadays in the Department of Defense, and yes, I say Department of Defense until they spend $125 million to change the name. There's no concept of the operation. It's just we're going to do shit because we can do it, and there's no rhyme or reason behind it. Doesn't make any
Well,
sense.
well, that's the Trump, and you just described the Trump administration. Trump himself is a corrupt criminal clown. He's a grotesque caricature of the ugly American. That is him. How could American foreign policy reflect anything other than him? Like, if he is a fat criminal slob, then U.S. foreign policy acts like a drunken slob in a bar, pushing people around and trying to do whatever stream of consciousness comes across his brain. If that's who Trump is and what I just described as factual, then U.S. foreign policy can only reflect that. Our Department of Defense can only reflect a bizarre stream of consciousness, crony capitalism, selfish, self-enriching, grotesque ass clown. Then the U.S. is going to look like that on the international stage. And I'm arguing, like with Venezuela, that's exactly what we look like.
Yeah, but it goes back to democracy is the worst form of government, except for all the others. And our DOD is the worst form of defense, except for every single one. And along those lines, here's another story. Let's talk about this, also from the New York Times. And again, I'll put all these New York Times and stories in the show notes, gift articles, so you can read them yourself. You can go back and verify that what we're saying is true. But here's another one. Let's look at this one. The title of this article from the New York Times, recent article, is Russia's fearsome arsenal fizzled in Venezuela. Here's why, end quote. So apparently the air defense didn't work well in Venezuela against the F-35 and other things. As we talked about, I think in the last episode of this podcast, Hugo Chavez in 2009 got a $2.2 billion loan for the Russians to buy Russian stuff. And part of that was the Buk and the S-300 air defense systems.
Which is used widely in Ukraine. If you follow the war, you know that.
And is used widely around the world because you really only have two choices. You can buy the Gucci Patriot shit that works and works well.
Yes.
Some would say works too well. Or you can buy this secondhand knockoff garbage from Russia and now China. And it didn't work well at all for the Venezuelans, as we talked last episode. But this article talks about how corruption in Venezuela just would not allow them to be able to maintain their system. Surprise, surprise. They had missiles that were in storage and not in the launcher. They had launchers that were not connected to the radar systems. It was just a clown show, as you can imagine, from a third world corrupt oil country like Venezuela. There's nothing surprising here, right?
No, absolutely not. You're right. People may think if you don't know that you just buy like weapons or whatever, and I don't know, you just sit them down somewhere like in a garage or a skid pad, and you're good to go forever. Like, this stuff requires constant maintenance, daily checks. That's one thing the U.S. military does well. The U.S. military is a maintenance obsessed organization, and it has to be.
Yeah,
this stuff is complicated. I don't care if it's a striker, infantry fighting vehicle. That shit requires probably more maintenance than you spend in it. But if you want it to work, you gotta maintain it.
You hit it right on the nail on the head. The more complex the system is, the more delicate and more maintenance and more training and it takes. And shooting a flying thing with another flying thing is fucking hard. Air defense is complicated. It's technical. You can't get dust in things. You have to keep it clean. It's not just physical maintenance, but it's training, operator training, things like that. And these guys are a corrupt bunch of buffoons, like most countries.
I was going to say like most Russians, but okay.
Well, like most countries in the world. And that's the bigger picture here. Oh, before I get on this soapbox, this is another picture.
I think you're already on it, but okay.
That's right. I'm going to be on a soapbox all day. But this is another picture in the New York Times of Venezuela of that fucking bus that got blown up. Like, it's the only one the New York Times has is from the strike is a picture of this blown up bus in the background. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. But
if I can pile on this, I'll get on a soapbox next to you. Yes. Russia, the Soviet Union, Russia, Soviet satellite countries were and are notorious for not maintaining their equipment. Like one of the headlines for the Russian invasion of Ukraine is like the lack of maintenance on Russian equipment, right? That they sat for decades in open dirt lots, and they're like, "Oh, we need to use these now." Well, what the fuck, bro? You've been changing the oil. You've been changing the lubricants. You've been changing tires. Like,
right? You have BTRs.
What have you been doing?
BTRs that have not even rolled out of the the motor pool for years. They haven't even changed. You got to rotate the tires, just move the thing so the sun doesn't hit.
Not like rotating them, like rotating tires on your car, like actually making them move,
moving them,
just moving them,
so they don't get dented on the bottom.
Yeah,
right. What the hell?
Also, I love seeing the pictures of Russian stored vehicles with the fucking hatches open. Like, really? For 40 years? You just had the fucking hatches open with snow and rain and like animals coming in? Like, really, dude?
Squirrels.
For decades?
Yeah. How many squirrels live in that BMP? I mean, eating all the electronic, all the
wires. They eat everything, all the wiring, the sheaths.
Yeah. Ridiculous shit.
What a train wreck. That's Russia.
That's what I think is the bigger picture here. It's a picture. It's an issue of military might and the illusion of an enemy that is stronger than it really is.
Oh, and, for sure.
I mean, look, we've had Iraq.
We're talking about Russia or Venezuela.
I'm talking about everybody that the DoD faces. I'm talking about $1 trillion defense budget to go against basically corrupt third world shitholes that couldn't hold a candle to modern military technology.
And they get rolled.
Iraq was the fourth largest army in the world. Okay. We're going to lose tens of thousands of Americans when we invade Iraq. Russia is the second largest army in the world. They're going to walk over Ukraine in 3 days. China is the rising dragon that's going to take over the South China Sea.
There might be.
North Korean nukes, Iranian nukes. It's all a big smoke and mirror show. It's all the lack of an existential threat is an existential threat to the Department of Defense.
Yeah, actually, you're right. You nailed it. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole world is sitting back and just laughing at America about how the military-industrial complex contractors have captured, the legislative and the executive branches of government in this country. It's just ridiculous.
Now, I can't really push back on much of what you just said. You obviously are an expert in your field. However, I am currently studying the U.S.'s military-industrial complex. It is a two-way street between Congress, what oversight they can do, the Department of Defense, the different branches, the clown show. First of all, it's easy to hate the military-industrial complex. It's easy. You see ridiculous things happen. You just want to get angry. It's a two-way street, dude. Know what I like? I'm reading about right now. I don't know if you remember the M10 Booker. That mean anything?
Oh yeah, they canceled that.
The light tank. That the Army refused to call a light tank. I'm like, well, what do you think it is, bro? Well, it's an infantry support vehicle. Oh, so why does it look like a tank? Like, you couldn't get them to admit that it was a light tank. Yeah. Now they put $1 billion into this. General Dynamics built it. That General Dynamics Land Systems builds a lot of the U.S.'s, military. They built like the Stryker fleet. They built the LAV, light armored vehicle that the Marine Corps uses. Some people forget that. It basically looks like a Stryker. But General Dynamics is like, hey, you ordered this, bro. You ordered the light tank. We built you a light tank. We put $1 billion into it through government funds or whatever. But smartly, God, I hate to say Hegseth has done anything right. They canceled the MT Booker after like 26 systems were made last year in 2025. And they called it obsolete. Like, okay.
So Was it Lloyd Austin or Hegseth that canceled it?
Hegseth in 2025. It
Okay.
kept, it was, so
Okay.
General Dynamics, well, what was on LRIP, LRIP, low initial rate of production.
Okay.
Anyways, so what General Dynamics, they're like, hey, we'll build what you want. You said you wanted a mobile protected firepower system. We developed that. You said you wanted 504 units. We are beginning to build out 504 units. And then the Army cancels it and calls it obsolete. I agree with you, it's obsolete. It was obsolete in 2018 when you started to fucking make the thing. It was obsolete then as well. So interesting. So who are you going to blame for that? You're going to blame General Dynamics? I'm building what you told me to. You told me you wanted this.
But
now it's $1 billion down a toilet.
Right. It's just in public policy we call it an iron triangle of capture. So the company will do the company will do whatever the government wants.
I'll do stupid shit. I'll do stupid shit.
Yeah, you want a skateboard with a rocket on it? Yeah. Fuck, I'll build it. I don't give a shit.
Okay.
You give us money. But the other side of that is that the companies also lobby
100%.
the government to influence their decisions.
100%.
So it's not just all about, okay, we'll do whatever you want and it's the government's fault. No, this is a circular, this is a
circle jerk.
Dragon. I was going to say like a snake.
2 dragons. Type thing. Trump jerking off 2 dragons.
Yeah, we always have to go back to that. The double dong dance. The Trump double dong. Yes, that's very important for policy analysis.
Yeah, they smooth this all around. So I look at these military industrial complex. I'm looking at the big 5. You're right. They have operations in 20, 30 different states. They're in probably 100 different congressional districts or more. Intentional. Well, of course we need this, or people need jobs. We got to hire people. You're right. And that's how this whole train wreck develops. Know who gets fucked? The taxpayer. You and me.
Well, you know what?
Without any lube. I mean, we get fucked with dry sandpaper.
I don't think we have to go there.
Sorry about that. Crunchy peanut butter.
That's probably worse. Look at this. That's a good segue. The title of this Reuters article.
Oh, what a segue. This is good.
Is Trump blocks defense company payouts until arms production speeds up. So apparently Trump is not happy with these military industrial complex companies paying dividends or buying back shares instead of focusing.
Yeah, he can't do anything about that.
Well, he's unhappy with it instead of focusing on capital investments in their production line.
Yeah, he's got a wet diaper. So Trump, the business genius, like, you don't understand how a military company works?
Well, any company.
Dividends. This is all standard practice. I don't care if you make widgets, Apple phones, Abrams tanks. It's the same shtick.
The theory of the firm. So the whole reason for a company to exist is one simple reason: shareholder value. If you do not increase shareholder value, the company should not exist. Not a private company, anyways. So Trump also, in this article, it said Trump singled out Raytheon in a Truth Social post. Trump wrote, quote, "I have been informed by the Department of War that defense contractor Raytheon has been the least responsive to the needs of the Department of War," end quote. So for some reason he is calling out Raytheon.
Pretty sure that's not true. I got to admit, Raytheon's the next company I'm doing. So I'm presently doing General Dynamics. So I've done Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, Boeing. Those 3 are basically interchangeable, identical companies, aerospace companies. General Dynamics is not a mostly aerospace company. Raytheon, obviously, private company, produces, the Patriot missile systems that everyone hears. They do part of the Javelin system. They do the clue for the Javelin, while Lockheed Martin does the actual warhead. I'm pretty sure you can't tell a private company not to give dividends. Like, there's no legal basis for that. You can't. What you could do
Right.
is have the Department of Defense not provide them funding, but this gets circular for programs that you want them to build. So it's kind of convoluted. Like, hey, dude, no more money for Patriot missile systems until you build more Patriot missile systems faster.
I think this industry, more than maybe any other industry, the government can influence their decisions. It might not be legal, it might not be above board, but the government can influence what military defense contractors do.
But you would need an option then, right? You would have to say, well, then I'm going to bring our government business to company X instead of you.
Right. And there are no options now.
Right. There's sometimes you, depending on the product, you could be out of an option. And there may not be someone else. Like, you want to talk about a nuclear submarine? I'm going to go to the other 10 companies that produce nuclear-powered ballistic submarines. No, you're not, bro. There's only 2. And the way that they've been doing contracts for the past decade is each one builds half of it. You ain't going to another guy. You are fucking trapped in their system. Now, with Raytheon, it depends on the product. And like Lockheed Martin builds radar systems. You call the Patriot missile system defense system because they use the Patriot radar. Lockheed Martin makes their own competing radar system. The Patriot missile system is the radar. The missiles used are actually produced by Lockheed Martin. At least most of the missile itself. Obviously, it's farmed out to different people. So maybe with that, you could go to say, hey, I'm bringing the business of Lockheed Martin, bro.
Well, it's an interesting
Depends on the product,
because now there's a monopoly by the defense contractors, but there's also a monopsony, meaning there's only one buyer, which is the U.S. government. So it's an interesting industry. But Trump,
it is interesting. It's its own thing.
The article goes on to say Trump wants to limit CEO total compensation to $5 million. Some of these guys make $20 million or more a year.
I would say, hey, demented Don, depending on is his diaper wet, what meds he's on right now. Why don't you do that for all of corporate America? Why just the defense industry? Why don't we put a cap on CEO pay across the country? I'm okay with that. Make me a CEO. I make $4 million a year. What the fuck else do I need to do? You want me to eat gold? You want me to burn dollar bills? I'm okay getting capped. I don't need much money. Why don't you do it for all of the country?
Well, I don't know. That's not really capitalism, right?
Right. Well, we don't
government limits. That's not capitalism.
Yeah.
That's not what this country's based on.
Okay, that's a long conversation. But demented Don, so he thinks he's going to put the cap on just military industrial complex CEOs? What is he going to do?
I don't know. That's what the article says. He's got to be careful because there are plenty of movies out there where the military industrial complex is not happy with the president and they decide to do something drastic about it.
Like what? Don't refuse to change his wet diaper?
Well, like Oliver Stone's JFK. The underlying premise of that was that the military and the military industrial complex was not happy with JFK, and they may have assassinated him.
It was more with JFK. It's more than the military industrial complex that had a problem with it. It was other conservative, right-wing, militant leaders in the intelligence community, in
maybe the mafia
circles. Well,
maybe the mafia.
Mafia just will whack you, and they don't want you to look into organized crime. I don't think they're that concerned about the Cuban Missile Crisis.
I don't want to go down the JFK conspiracy road.
We should do a podcast on it.
It
was a
Joe
conspiracy.
Rogan does one every week on it.
It was a conspiracy. 2 or more people working in concert behind the scenes to affect an outcome. There was more than was 2 people or more. So, like conspiracy, don't get carried away with that. It's not as big a deal as you think. It's just 2 or more people.
Well, yes, the legal definition of conspiracy, but there's other ones. The Manchurian Candidate,
great movie. The original.
Well, the remake with Denzel Washington wasn't bad. I like that one.
Oh God. Oh no, you didn't.
Denzel Washington was the
No, you
Manchurian
didn't.
Candidate. Yeah, it
The
was not bad.
original one, black and white, is the best ever done.
Here's a movie. I don't know if you've seen this movie because it's kind of sci-fi. How about The Watchmen? The movie, not the TV show, the movie. The Watchmen.
When?
2009. And it is a superhero type movie, like an anti-hero type movie. That's also conspiracy of the military industrial complex. But the series on HBO, the TV series, is excellent.
Really?
Much better than the movie, I thought. Yeah. Anyways.
Okay, so the Watchman, he's like a superhero, right? He's got superpowers.
Well, yeah, a lot of them have superpowers. They have strange powers, and then the Doctor, the big purple guy that's naked. And
I don't feel comfortable right now.
It shows his penis in the
really, bro?
too.
You just go there?
Gigantic.
You just went there?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, he's like a giant blue guy with a giant blue penis.
Like the circumference of like a can of beans or something? Like, what are we talking here?
Probably like 3 Coke cans.
Oh my God.
I don't know why we got on this. Hey, you know somebody else.
Oh, it's a superhero movie. I got it.
Yes, it is. It's War Week Friday. We'll talk about whatever we want. But somebody else you shouldn't mess with when we're talking about big corporations, the oil companies. Let's take a look at this article.
The poster children for crony capitalism and special interest groups that work only for their own interests. I guess not much different from the military-industrial complex.
Again, it's the theory of the firm to increase shareholder value.
Yep.
You can't fault them for capitalism here. But here's the title of this
unconstrained crony capitalism.
I wouldn't call it unconstrained. You mean
it's
legally constrained?
It's largely unconstrained.
Well, the law is a constraint. So,
but Trump doesn't worry about law. He's a wannabe dictator. Yeah.
The title of this New York Times article is Trump's plan for Venezuela oil run headlong into reality. End quote. Apparently, the American oil companies are not falling over themselves to rush into Venezuela to pull out all the oil. Venezuela has the world's largest oil reserves. Now, we can debate whether or not that oil is clean or dirty or sweet or whatever. But they only produce 1% of the world's oil because it's Venezuela. Sanctions, mismanagement, corruption.
And you can read about like the oil curse, like a country that has, incredible wealth and depends on just a single resource. Almost always leads to tremendous corruption, misuse, people that get no benefit from it, right? The hierarchy of corrupt humans funnel it to just a couple dudes who run it. Same old story. Interesting. It's almost like hard for us to imagine this, that the corrupt criminal clown that is Trump didn't think this through. I'm going on a limb on that. It's crazy. It's Friday.
You don't think he thought this through? We're gonna run the country for 3 years at least. We're gonna take all their oil, but he didn't realize that the American oil companies aren't going to rush in there, especially now when it's chaos. We don't know who's going to end up leading this country. We don't know if it's going to fall into revolution. We don't know if the Chinese are just going to come in.
Stephen Miller's running it,
though, bro.
What's going to happen? Stephen Miller's running it with his skinny tight pants on and skinny tie, and that intellectual giant that is Stephen Miller. He's running Venezuela.
Stephen Miller.
That's what Trump said.
The deputy chief of staff, which I just read on ChatGPT. So he's the deputy chief of staff. If he runs Venezuela like he runs the White House, nobody's going to know what's going on.
So there would be no difference. So it would continue to be a corrupt criminal clown show. So you could just transplant that operation, which is the Trump government, and then you could put that in Venezuela. No difference. Crony capitalism, wannabe dictator, laws mean nothing. Clown show.
the CEO of ExxonMobil, Darren Woods, he said that Venezuela was uninvestable, and that pissed Trump off. And Trump said that he was playing too cute, end quote. And Trump would be inclined to keep ExxonMobil out of Venezuela. This guy, what a dumbass.
Which
Darren
one?
Woods,
Him
the
or Trump?
CEO of ExxonMobil. He makes, hold on, I have it in my notes here. Darren Woods, CEO of ExxonMobil, makes $44 million a year in total compensation. And this sounds like this guy is a complete dumbass, because why wouldn't he just appease Trump? Like, has he not got the memo yet on how to deal with Trump? Just say, yes, Mr. President, that's a great idea. We're going to send so-and-so into Venezuela to do a study. Like, what the fuck? What kind of game is he playing? Hard to get?
Let me tell you
what
why.
A moron.
How much does he make? 40 mil?
$44.1 million a year as a stupid dipshit CEO of ExxonMobil.
Yeah, it should be capped. His pay should be capped.
$5 million
sure.
a year. It's probably too much for him.
The rest should go to be paying the debt or health care or college scholarships. Why he can effectively highlight that Trump is a babbling idiot is because he makes $44 million a year.
Because he doesn't care.
I don't care if he has a job, doesn't have a job. You think if he loses his job, like he's picking up beer cans to make ends meet, dude?
He's got fuck you money, but it's not about the money at that point. It's about career reputation.
Okay,
it's about your reputation.
If I got 44 million, my reputation could be on my T-shirt that says "Go eat a dick." I don't care. You have no obstacles in life.
But if
you have no problems at all.
Yes, but it's about pride and reputation. If you, which I think you would be a good in this profession, if you were a professional dick eater, which I think you would be really good at, you would take pride on how good you eat a dick, and it wouldn't be about the money, right?
Now I know you're projecting. There's a lot of projection going on right now.
No,
judging from
you're a giant
how you present yourself, like Chester the Molester, with whatever that is on your face.
Oh man,
there's a lot of projection going on here. So he is able to accurately highlight that Trump is an incompetent boob because he's got the payroll to do it. He doesn't care. Investments, this, that, whatever. I can tell you. Well, maybe he's grown a conscience. And says, you're a moron.
Look, this article says that unlike other countries, the United States does not have a nationalized oil company to do their bidding. Maybe Trump will just go ahead and nationalize ExxonMobil. Fuck that dude. Yeah. And you know why? Here's the rest of the story. You ready for this? I hope you're sitting down.
I'm sitting down.
Okay. Darren Woods, CEO of ExxonMobil, took over the job in 2017. Do you know who he took over from?
Don't tell me Rex Tillerson.
Rex Tillerson, Trump's Secretary of State for a while until he was replaced by Mike Pompeo, a West Pointer,
who recently it was all fucked up.
Recently lost a bunch of weight and tried to become president of the United States. It didn't work out for Pompeo. And then Pompeo got
for president.
I think he was trying to. He was trying to run for senator of Nebraska, I think, but it didn't work out. And he also got himself shut out of the second administration. He was trying to set himself up as the envoy to Ukraine or something in the State Department like that, but it didn't work out apparently.
What was Rex Tillerson's famous quote about Trump?
Trump's a dipshit.
Close. He said Trump was dumb as shit.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what he said, but Tillerson talked very poorly of Trump.
Why?
And maybe
why? Why?
I don't know. Why would he get that impression?
Why is that?
Why would the Secretary of the State of the United States talk poorly about the president unless there was some reason to do it?
Lil Marco does it. Lil Marco is a good little helper monkey.
Oh my God. If Marco Rubio becomes president,
Lil Marco, he's a good little boy. Does what he's told.
Oh no, he's
demented Don pets him on his head. Good little Marco.
Rubio is going to come out of the booth hard when he becomes president.
Reinforce every ignorant shit I do, Lil Marco. Okay.
No, I think Rubio is going to have the Justice Department investigate every other person in this administration when he becomes president.
That's different. How?
Oh, I don't know.
Than
No,
now?
well, it's his own party. That's probably,
okay.
that's one thing. Anyways, this might be just a vindictive thing. Maybe ExxonMobil already realizes that Trump is not Chevron's going to be able to stay in Venezuela and be the point man for Venezuela U.S. Oil relations. And maybe ExxonMobil already sees the writing on the wall that Trump is a vindictive asshole, and he's going to hold a grudge against Tillerson and also ExxonMobil in general.
Almost like no thought's been put into this plan whatsoever. Call me crazy. No. I say crazy stuff like that.
We don't need to plan. You don't need to plan anything when you have the world's largest army, most powerful army.
Work itself
you don't have to plan
out,
shit. Take over Greenland, bomb Iran, invade Venezuela. It doesn't matter. You don't have to plan. That's one of the comforts of having the most powerful army in the world by far.
There's an interesting article. I forget if you sent it to me or not. I read a long articles about the I know there's many articles, but there's a recent one about did you send it me too about the relationship between the Trump administration and Zelensky and Ukraine and Russia?
Oh, we'll talk about that. We'll get to Russia. We'll talk about it today.
That's a long article.
The Separation. It's a long read.
We'll
talk about it.
All of it. Okay.
Well, you read it all? Good
all
for
of
you.
It.
I'm proud of you.
I remember you said it to me. Hey, you should read this. I'm like, dude, it took 20 minutes to read the article.
You normally don't, unless I tell you specifically. Please read this. You should.
Well,
read this.
I'm like little Marco. You're demented Dom. I'm little Marco.
Yes, yeah. Thanks. I
do
heard you're the best. You're the best sidekick, Eric. You're the best. Okay, look, obviously but Darren Woods did not get the memo on how to deal with Trump.
Yeah, and kiss his ass. Yeah.
Yeah, you know who did get the memo? Let's look at this article.
Uh-oh.
We're still on Venezuela. Okay, the title of this article from the New York Times is Machado presents Trump with her Nobel Peace Prize medal. So Maria Corina Machado, who won the Nobel Prize for Peace for 2025, and we talked about her a lot on this podcast. She was spirited out of Venezuela in the middle of the night by ex-special forces operators, and so she could go and get her Nobel Peace Prize. She did not attend the ceremony. Her daughter actually attended the ceremony and gave the speech for her. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. But apparently, Machado went to the White House and totally kissed Trump's ass and gave her medal to Trump.
That's pathetic.
The peace.
Pathetic.
It is.
That's pathetic.
What a sycophant.
I've done some pathetic things in my life. I've never been that pathetic. I never have.
Have some pride.
Have some respect for yourself, even a little bit.
Holy shit. I mean, I get it. She's playing the game. And it's unclear if Trump actually accepted the medal.
Of course he did.
He probably does. It's probably hanging on the wall right behind the,
100%.
Between the windows, right behind the Resolute desk in the Oval Office. It's right there. So every televised episode, you can see the medal behind him as he's sitting at the desk. But okay, at least she got the memo. At least she's playing the game. I can give her some props for that. But boy, how it looks bad, right? She looks desperate.
Yeah,
she wants it too badly.
Yeah, she definitely gets the Helper Monkey Award. I rarely can you come up with an example of someone kissing so much ass so blatantly internationally, on television. What an embarrassment.
Yeah, but who is not doing a very good job of kissing Trump's ass, apparently?
Lil Marco?
No, he's doing a great job.
Oh.
No, Delcy Rodriguez, the interim president of Venezuela. So let's just look at this real quick. Let's listen to what she has to say.
Algún día me tocase como presidenta encargada ir a Washington, lo haré de pie, caminando, no arrastrada.
So she's going to go to Washington. If she has to go to Washington, she's not going to go on her knees. She's going to, hold her head up high.
You're a fool if you go to Washington. They're going to arrest you.
Oh yeah,
put you in jail. What are you, an idiot? She got to be an idiot to do that. Yeah.
But she sounds kind of like Maduro.
You.
She needs for her own sake. She probably should calm it down a little bit. She sounds like Maduro a little bit. Very defiant. Very in your face.
How can she be that defiant when Marco Rubio is running the country? Like, how can she do that? Is he letting her do that? Because he runs the country.
Stephen Miller runs the country.
And it's a trifecta. It is Miller, Rubio, and Hegseth. So they run Venezuela. Well, Trump said
they're doing a good job.
Yeah, Trump said so. So this must be clever that they let her seem like she's independent.
Yeah, because they think things through, and they're that sophisticated. They can run a psyop.
They're intellectuals like for sure. Yeah.
And they're just
deep
letting
intellectual. Yeah,
basically just letting atoms bounce around wherever they lie. They're not doing anything. But this Machado giving Trump her Nobel Prize reminds me of this.
What a joke.
And this is another segue into Russia.
How embarrassing.
This was when Sean Penn gave Zelensky one of his 2 Oscars. Do you remember this?
2? He should have 10.
He has 2. One for Milk, the movie Milk, and one for a Clint Eastwood movie, which I can't remember the name of. Best actor for both of them. But
every time I have visited Ukraine, visited with you, every time I leave the country, I feel like a traitor. This is for you.
No, Sean.
Yes.
No.
Please.
That is yours.
No, I feel terrible outside. It's just a symbolic, silly thing.
Yes, but
if I know this is here with you, then I'll feel better and stronger for the fight.
It's so great to honor, but until we win.
When you win.
Okay, so
I'm about to tear up, dude. This is my response.
Oh, don't do that.
Love you, bro. Love you.
Don't ever do that. Sean Penn's Oscar is still in the the whatever.
Wow. So people may be
Ukrainian Oval Office.
If Trump saw that video, he'd be like, what's he doing? What is that? Hey, demented Don, that's leadership. That's why you don't recognize it. You can't even you're like, what's going on?
What I was thinking, that's pretty cool, first of all. And Sean Penn seems to be like a very rational, grounded human being from a philosophical perspective. But when I saw him take it out of his backpack, like most of his backpack was filled with stuffing to protect that thing. So he carried that thing from the United States, because even an actor like him, he probably couldn't carry that much stuff from the United States. So one of his pieces of luggage, his carry-on, was committed completely to just protecting his Oscar statue and get it to Kyiv. So that was pretty cool, I thought. There's deeper sacrifices there than just giving a statue.
Good to see a video of a strong, effective, competent leader. Yeah, because we don't have that in the U.S. So it's good to see that Ukraine actually has that as someone who's actually doing the right thing and is credible and don't wear a diaper. So that's good.
And I can slightly relate when he said, look, every time I leave the country, I feel like a traitor. I don't feel that strongly, but when you leave, you're there around everybody that's fighting in the mud, and you're only there for a couple of days. And then I leave, and
I'm a war tourist.
That's right. I'm a war tourist. Nope. And then I leave, and I go back to my cushy office with my books and my podcast. Shit. And I wouldn't call it survivor guilt or remorse.
Yeah,
it's not that strong.
Yeah. It's called you being a piece of shit.
It's called being a piece of shit. I should probably go and enlist in the Foreign Legion and just do a couple years in Ukraine.
You should, dude,
and that would take
knock it out. Just do a year. Just knock it out.
I think relative to other Westerners, I think I'm doing my part, though. Relative to people that are not fighting.
By growing a neck beard. That's
By
your
growing a
part,
neck
right?
beard, I'm doing my part, but not relative to foreign fighters that are actually fighting for Ukraine or people that are over there, journalists full time, actually doing something, and obviously not relative to Ukrainians. It's ridiculous to have any kind of, relative comparison to people that are surviving. But I did feel a tiny bit of remorse when he said, when he leaves, he feels like a traitor. But that's the segue into Russia. Let's talk about Russia and let's talk about Ukraine, because right now, let me show this article. Boom.
I thought you were going to show the gruesome video of the guy on the Russian on the ATV. Oh, that's good.
No, we're not going to show that.
Oh, thank goodness.
No, New York Times again, quote, Kiev's cruelest winter, Russia knocks out the heat in the bitter cold, end quote. Ukraine is getting hammered right now. It is the coldest it's been since the beginning of the war. And Russia is really pressing, knocking out the electrical grid in Ukraine. Russia is now focusing on just 3 cities. So they're actually, concentrating mass on Kyiv, Odessa, and Dnipro City. So instead of hitting, sparse electrical grid components across the country, they're really putting the pressure on 3 places, Dnipro, Odessa, and Kyiv. And the Ukrainians have been lucky thus far as winters go. It's been fairly mild, relatively speaking. But right now it's negative. It's consistently negative 4 or 5 degrees Fahrenheit in much of the country. And that includes during the day. So it's really cold. So the normal Eastern European winter is back, and people are hurting because people in these large high-rise apartments, I think there are like 500 high-rise apartments, really high-rise apartments in Kyiv, something like that. And most of them work on electric heat. So they don't have any heat at all. And so they have to go down into these heating tents. Some of the trains at the train station are heated, so they sit in the trains. They go down into the metro, which is, by the way, the deepest metro in Europe is in Kyiv. So they have to do other things. And a lot of people have generators, personal diesel, or I guess maybe gas generators, probably gas generators. In the Army, we have diesel generators, but I think the commercial ones are gas, just regular gas, petrol, benzene, if you're in Ukraine. But I spoke to some Ukrainians yesterday, and they told me a story that this is just anecdotal, but it kind of highlights the sacrifice that Ukrainians are making. That this family lived in a high-rise apartment, and they had a gas generator on the balcony. And they unfortunately left the door open, or it was cracked open, and carbon monoxide killed the entire family as they slept. Yeah, it's very gruesome. It's tragic, but that's just an example of what's going on in Kyiv right now.
Can I make 2 comments on this?
Yes.
Nothing new or revolutionary. This highlights what Ukraine and Europe's number one priority should be right now: deep strikes. You should be focusing on deep strikes, cruise missiles, glide bombs, drones. You need to be hitting Russia deep 7 days a week, their infrastructure, their electricity, their airports, their manufacturing.
They just don't have the capacity. They simply do not have the capacity.
Stop the nonsense. It's been 4 fucking years. Create the fucking capacity. So,
it is what it is.
Right. But if you want to see,
and create it.
Yeah. 4 fucking years, bro. We won World War II in 4 years. By the way, as we all know, the war in Ukraine has now gone on longer than Russia's participation in World War II. It is now the longest war they've had. Well, I guess a high intensity war that you had, because like every 2 weeks you have the casualties of what they had in Afghanistan over 10 years. So interesting. So, okay, deep strike. Europe, wake the fuck up. You should have woke the fuck up 4 years ago. Deep strike hitting Russian infrastructure. That's your way ahead. Number two, it's cold on the front lines, dude. Yeah, it's cold in your city here. I got it. Go out on the front lines where there is no central air. There's no heating of anything. You're burning wood or little cans and stuff to heat food. It's cold on the front lines. You got to wear a lot of equipment on the front lines. It's interesting seeing Russians moving around cold weather clothing. They're real bulky. They got heavy backpacks. They got to bring tons of equipment and clothing. They're easy targets, man. You catch someone all bogged down in the snow trying to move through like foot deep snow. Oh, bro, you thought you had no chance before? You have less than no chance now. And it's interesting that the last month, the head of Ukraine's unmanned systems forces, if I got that right, basically their UAV effort, their consolidated UAV effort, he said that they killed or wounded more people than Russia is recruiting and bringing to the front.
Right.
That's the first time ever in the war that unmanned systems had caused more casualties than Russia is bringing to the front. Because he's been talking about this for almost a year that, hey, we need to do that. They never got close. But
I thought it was Ukraine in general was killed more Russians or caused more Russian casualties. I was not aware that it was only unmanned systems caused more casualties.
I believe it was specifically unmanned systems, and that they cause more than 90% of casualties on the front lines.
Interesting.
Okay. I can't I'll let you off the hook on this. I got to do one more thing. I got to talk about Russian tanks. People talk about how they make. I heard a couple tools say Russia makes 1,500 tanks a year. No, they don't. Russia is husbanding their tanks for a giant reserve for another giant push on Europe. Maybe. I don't think so. Russia's losing one tank a day. That may not sound like a lot to you. That's 350, 400 tanks a year are still getting served up like bacon. Now, most people with accurate guesses think they make about 400 tanks a year. That's about what they can produce right now. They're losing that or even more every year.
There was an article, and maybe I'll find it for next week. There was an article that talked about Russia hopes to ramp up their T-90 production to 1,000 by 2030. So
it's irrelevant.
Yeah, it's irrelevant in this war, but yes.
Yeah, you're building a very expensive tank that costs more than your old Soviet junk, and it gets blown up just like every other tank on the battlefield. It is good for Ukraine if Russia does spend a lot of its resources on useless, obsolete equipment, which is the tank. Tank is obsolete, doesn't get you anything anymore, gets blown up for $250. It is a waste of your money. Ukraine should want Russia to do this. Shows you're not learning, shows your brain hasn't come up with anything, and you are still captured by the military industrial complex because they keep producing shit you don't need. Kind of like the M1 Abrams tank. More garbage you don't need.
Or the Booker.
Booker's dead.
Light tank. We're going to call it the Booker light tank just to twist the knife. Yeah, it's cold. It's cold in Ukraine right now, and they are suffering. I remember in January of 2023, I was in Kyiv, and it was apparently a mild winter then too. And I was like, oh my God, it is so cold. I was so cold. I vowed never to go back in the winter. But here we are. And I think very soon I am going back. Not I think, I know I already have my plane tickets.
Have you been
very soon
up?
I'm going back to Ukraine in the winter. And I think it's kind of important that Western people that report on the war understand the suffering that the country's doing.
You better bring a sleeping bag.
I'm prepared to be -4 degrees for the entire time.
You're bringing a down sleeping bag?
I'm bringing stuff. I'm not bringing a down sleeping bag, but I'm bringing enough stuff that I can survive for the entire time at -4 degrees. I'm just assuming, I'm just making the assumption that I'm not going to have any heat. Just in case.
Oh, that's why you grew the neck beard. Got it.
It's not going to hurt. Let's put it that way.
Got it.
I'm a beard, and I will bring my balaclava. So, I'm not taking any chances. But hey, let's move on and talk about what you mentioned, that long read in the New York Times, which I think was excellent. I think it came out Sunday. And again, I will put this in the show notes. It's a gift article, so you don't have to worry about firewall. Go to our episode show notes in Spotify, YouTube, wherever, and just click on this and you can read it. It's a long read, but if Eric can read it and maintain focus, anyone can read it.
It is so well done. Yeah.
It is an encapsulation of the buffoonery that has gone on over the last year. If I were to write a book entitled "How the West Lost Ukraine,"
might be doing that.
Maybe this would be the chapter. This would pretty much be the chapter on the Trump second administration, and how Pete Hegseth monkey fucked the entire operation to supply Ukraine with armament.
Oh, he is a dipshit.
So the Presidential Drawdown Authority that started under Biden, and that Trump said he would allow continue until it ran out, everything that was already pre-authorized to Ukraine.
He's a liar.
It just talks about how Pete Hegseth unilaterally canceled it and it started it, and then how the administration is all completely fucked up on Ukraine. They just like everything in this administration. Nobody talks to anyone. They all think everybody else is a fucking moron and everybody's doing their own thing. It is a good summary of how fucked up this is. And they talk about Michael Waltz as the first national security advisor before Rubio became dual-hatted as the Sec State and national security advisor. They validate my suspicions about what Trump thought of Keith Kellogg. And it talks about how
Kellogg was the only one who didn't have his head up his ass.
Well, Kellogg was too much of a zealot, a Ukraine zealot. And Trump thought, and he says
not a Kremlin butt plug, like
not a Kremlin butt plug. He was a Ukrainian zealot, but still kind of biased towards Ukraine. And Trump called him a fucking moron. It's something like that in
Isn't
the
that
article.
Funny?
Quoted him.
A fucking moron calling someone a fucking moron. Let's think about that for a second.
But I think mathematically that means they're both geniuses.
Is that like a Space Force joke or something?
Yes, I don't know. I just came up with that. I don't think
that's pretty good. Joke, so I gotta mention one part of the story where it reveals what a no talent, babbling clown that Trump is. Where they're talking about cutting a deal with Ukraine or whatever, and he's like, I want half the resources. That literally that babbling, frontal, temporal, lobal, dementia ass clownery that is Trump. Blurts out, I want half everything they got. And that's how that critical minerals deal came about, which looked nothing like what corrupt criminal clown Trump, said stream of consciousness, like he does everything, like he has no intelligent process. That's how that getting 50% of Ukraine's minerals deal, which was really a non-deal. Ukraine neutered it so much. What a fucking moron. This is what our national policy is based on.
Yeah, I think this article talked about Scott Bessent going to Ukraine. He's the Secretary of Treasury, going to Ukraine and talking, negotiating the mineral deal, and Zelensky's pretty much gave him the Heisman on that. And then he goes back. And really, when I read this relative to all the other buffoonery, I'm thinking, the minerals deal might be the most sane part of this entire year of the administration. Goat fucking Ukraine sideways for the entire year. But it's still, the mineral deal is still fucking stupid.
Right.
It's still fucking stupid.
If your opinion that is the least fucked up with a clown car, hey, maybe I give that to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it is.
All right. Yeah.
And it's fucked up. It's really fucked up.
It's completely fucked up. And the article goes on to say that the administration congratulated themselves for, quote, maneuvering Ukraine into the box and making them compliant with, U.S. policy. And then
which is really Russian policy. It's really Russia first.
It is.
Policy.
It is. And all Ukraine really wanted was for the United States just to tell them what the straight truth is.
Which way to go?
Yeah, so they can plan their fucking war of survival. Like, I don't give a shit if you're going to cut off weapons. I don't give a shit if you're going to give me weapons, but at least tell me what the plan is so I can plan for the rest of my life here,
Can I mention the article, the French article about Macron? He said,
go ahead.
He made the public statement, I think it was yesterday, 2/3 of intelligence provided to Ukraine comes from France. Only 1/3 comes from the U.S. now. U.S. has
now.
Yeah,
sure.
Well, yeah, now U.S. has been largely cut out of the loop or the process of providing battlefield intelligence to Ukraine. France is 2/3. That's interesting.
Interesting. And eventually, when we realize that Russia is still our fucking enemy, and we want human intelligence, and the best place to get Russian human intelligence in the world is from Ukrainian operators. And once we realize that we just shot ourselves in the foot because now we hamstrung our entire Russian human intelligence operations for the CIA because we didn't play well with Ukraine. What the fuck?
What kind of ass clown would do that, though? Oh, my
Idiot
bad.
Motherfuckers.
Trump
Idiot motherfuckers ruining everything.
Trump administration, I got it. Yeah, you got to be a Kremlin nut hugger to get on board with that. I just can't get there.
Ruining fucking everything. Hey, I wanted to talk about PTSD and this Special Forces Sergeant First Class that went into a bowling alley and shot everybody the fuck up. Let's do that. How about we do a special podcast early next week, on just talk about that. We're just going to talk about PTSD.
Yeah, I'm a little familiar with that. I've seen some of the stuff that they talk about in there. Yeah. I've seen it, experienced it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a good topic.
I don't think we have time to go into that.
No,
I think next week, we won't do it on War Week Friday next week. Let's just do a special podcast talking about PTSD and mental illness in the armed forces. I think that would be a good one. Yep. But I wanted to wrap this up on two things. First, I wanted to show this that you sent me from Come Back Alive. I think it's Come Back Alive is the Ukrainian. It's the Ukrainian.
This thing about the prisoners. Okay, I'm thinking of something else.
Yeah, let me see if I can scroll down here. I'm sorry. I want to live. I want to live.
Yeah. You were talking about another.
So this organization, I think it's a government organization in Ukraine that provides the ability for Russian soldiers to surrender on the battlefield. So they give them instructions. They make contacts for them. Blah blah blah. Well, they compiled data from 10,000 prisoners of war over the last 4 years, and provide a portrait of the Russian prisoner of war. So the average Russian that goes to war, and they compiled all these stats on one graphic, their age, their socioeconomic status, education, marriage status, their rank, how long they're in captivity before they're exchanged back to Russia, which places in Russia get their captives back, blah blah blah. Anyways, this is very interesting. This is amazing data. I think it's very useful for anyone that studies the war.
Oh, absolutely it is.
But here's what I found most remarkable about this graphic is that it was unremarkable. The average soldier that goes to war, apparently, according to these data, is unremarkable. It's exactly what you would think.
Well, hold on a second.
Yeah.
53% are 36 years old or older.
Yeah.
Dude, for war zone shit where like 18 and 19 and 20-year-olds go, 36 ain't young.
No, but I would expect that in this war, right?
You would expect it in
Talking about
Russia.
this war. In
With
this
a
war, you would-
demographic problem,
Right.
you would expect that for Russia.
and they are, I believe that to be younger than the average Ukrainian soldier, or at least that was the case, a year ago. So when I look at 36 and older, you're at least
That's
55% or 36 or older.
For a war
I'm thinking, wow, the average age of the Ukrainian used to be 46. The average age of the Ukrainian soldier was down to like 42 last year, and maybe it's down lower. But here, the average Russian age is 36. So, okay, not to get into the statistics and the math part of this, but I'm like, okay, was the decision to go to war voluntary? 76% of Russians said yes.
As a contractor, getting paid on a contract.
76% of Russian soldiers are contractors. 19% are mobilized, and 5% are what they call deadline. And I don't know what that means. Maybe the prisoners that were released, maybe 5% are deadline.
I don't know.
Or they're just, I don't know what that means. But basically, 20% are mobilized, 76% are volunteer contractors. They do it for the money. Okay, that's not surprising, really. Not surprising.
Look at the criminal record. 40% had a criminal record. That's pretty
that's
high.
surprising. That's pretty high.
That's pretty high.
That is surprising. 40% of Russian soldiers have a criminal record,
But,
and then they break it down by what their what their trespass was: theft 35%, drugs 18%, robbery 16%, murder 8%. 8% of Russian soldiers in Ukraine were convicted of murder.
Now, but that is typical of the Russian recruiting process, where they heavily recruit criminals. Like, take a pick, dude. You want to go to jail? You want to do jail time, or you want to go get your ass shot?
Yevgeny Prigozhin and Wagner started that.
Yep.
Famously started that with his speech in a Russian prison on how they can serve the motherland and still, get out of their prison sentence.
Yep.
This is an interesting graphic. And if you can send me the source, the source is right there, the Telegram channel source. I'll put that in the show notes, and so we can share it. All right.
Pretty interesting. Yeah.
Let's. It's Friday, so I want to end on a quick video. I always got to end on a video because it's Friday. But I just wanted to. This is kind of a happy video. This video shows a Ukrainian drone interceptor hitting a Shahed drone. And that's not unusual. We talk about that almost every week on the podcast. But this video, and I have the sound off so we don't hear the technical music, it's from the ground. It's a great video of the interceptor hitting the Shahed. Let's just play it.
Ooh, is that right? Is that the thing right behind it?
Yeah, that little dot. Now it goes out of camera view for a second.
Yo, bro.
And it comes back in, and boom. That's amazing. One more time. Let's just watch it.
Yeah,
that little dot right there is chasing the Shahed, and it apparently flies parallel to the Shahed for a moment, about 3 seconds, and then it explodes with a proximity explosion.
So that
pretty amazing.
$2,000
amazing video.
Sting interceptor, if that's what they use. I don't know what they use.
Yeah.
Runs about $2,000. That will take out every helicopter flying in the sky. Don't matter what it is.
Just imagine
every helicopter.
Just imagine that Shahed drone is
Apache,
a Black Hawk.
Well,
or maybe maybe
Apache.
Whatever.
The most heavily armed and armored helicopter in the world.
Or
it doesn't matter.
Or how about Marine One flying over DC?
Yeah, that's right.
How are you going to protect against that?
Right now, there is no protection to it.
Not really.
The fast, like 200-kilometer an hour quadcopter drone, not the quadcopter you're thinking of, shaped like a rocket. Very fast, very agile, very good range. There is no defense to it.
Yeah. Well, it's good to see Ukraine taking out Shahed drones with a value proposition that's cheaper than the Shaheds. Anyways, there we go. Venezuela, there's Russia. That's the week. We didn't get to talk about Greenland, but Greenland's a bunch of just ridiculous bullshit. Anyways, if you like the Flash Traffic podcast, if you listen to this hour and 15-minute podcast about Venezuela
Like getting a
and Russia,
PhD, like in a sitting, like it's very intellectual.
it is. Yes, I have a PhD, and I can tell you, listening to one podcast is equivalent to your 5 years of getting a PhD.
Actually, for you, it is. Yeah, right.
Probably. You're probably right. Anyways, subscribe, like, thumbs up, forward, and do all the things so we can keep doing this. If we reach 50,000 subscribers, then we'll start doing this more than once a week. How about that?
Remember,
boom.
Don't be a Putin nut hugger.
Is that your catch line?
Yeah.
Is that your catchphrase?
Yeah. Don't do it.
Wonderful. Okay. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
The Flash Traffic Podcast.